We can all take our seats.
Dime.
Today is Wednesday, May 14th, 2025. It is 6 p.m., and this is a regular City Commission meeting of the City of West Miami. This meeting is called to order. Please rise for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good evening. Let us pray. Thank you, God, that we could gather together within this community. Lord, thank you for leadership as we welcome and congratulate new vice mayor and new commissioner. God, showing that as we move forward, you are building up from within. So we thank you, Lord, for all that you're doing. God, we pray over this meeting this evening. Lord, every word that will be mentioned, Lord, every interaction, that it would be peppered with grace and with humility. And God, in all things, that we would remember that we are one. We're brought here together to work together. Thank you. I pray all these things in your matchless name. Amen.
Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Be seated. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Yes, good evening. Roll call. Mayor Eric Diaz-Padrón.
Here.
Commissioner Juan Blanes.
Present.
Commissioner Ivan Chavez Jr.
Here. Vice Mayor.
Commissioner Luciano Suarez.
Yes.
Commissioner Gustavo Ceballos.
Here.
Mayor, you have quorum.
Madam Clerk, I know you were on vacation, but the Vice Mayor, the Commissioner Chavez is now Vice Mayor Chavez for your notes.
Okay. You are right.
Minutes for approval.
Yes. Presentation of minutes for approval for March 17, 2025, special commission meeting, April 2nd, 2025, regular commission meeting, April 11, 2025, special commission meeting, May 8th, 2025, special commission meeting.
Motion. We have a motion?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Hearing none. Item passes. Next item, please.
Item 5, public comments.
This is time for public comments. If it is a public hearing item, you can speak at that time. Otherwise, this is for public comments. Anyone who wishes to speak for public comments.
Mr. Mayor, I have
Go ahead.
Ivan Chavez for
Okay.
public comments.
Do you want to speak at a night on a certain item? What item?
The Military Advisory Board.
That's an ordinance? Okay, well, you want to speak at the now or the public hearing?
I can do it now if you want.
Okay. No, just doing the public hearing. Let's speak.
Okay.
I appreciate you. Anyone else for public comments?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Seeing none, next item.
Item 6, report of the city manager.
Go ahead, Mr. Manager.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. I would like to take a second and formally introduce our new Finance Director, Cody McCall, if you can come up to the microphone for a second. He will give a little bit about his background and some of his thoughts and findings so far within his first few weeks working here.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here. My name is Cody McCall. I'm originally from Oklahoma. I come from a government background in a city that's not so different in size from the city of West Miami. During my tenure at the city of Jinx in Oklahoma, we also underwent a digital meter conversion. So the digital meter conversion that we're going through, it's nothing new to me. And so I'm pleased to oversee that and get us through where we are. I've also had the opportunity to talk with our auditors several times since I've been here, in some cases more than one time a week. So we're down to our fixed asset list. The audit is moving along really well. Normally, in previous practice, what I do is anytime there's any issues on the audit, I ask about it early on. You know, are there anything that we should be aware of? Are there going to be any expected findings? Just because I'd rather preemptively present those early on. And as of to the date, there are no such findings. I'm not aware of anything. There's no concerns. Everything seems to be going really well. Our financial position looks good. I'm really confident about that. To second that, I've also had the opportunity to work really closely with the governor's office with their DOGE efforts. And so we have a liaison that we've been working with to submit some of the documents there. That's been going really well. They invited us to participate in submitting some other documents voluntarily. that give them an idea of how small cities work, what our budget looks like, our metrics for operating, and just overall our fiscal performance. And so we've submitted everything to DOJ. They haven't raised any comments, any concerns. They've been pleased, and they've invited us to participate on the supplemental items. So I'm pleased with where we are so far, and I'm looking forward to getting the audit wrapped up. And I'm also looking forward to assisting DOJ and providing them the options that they need to kind of familiarize themselves with small cities like ourselves.
Thank you.
Thank you. If I may continue, first of all, I want to welcome Commissioner Ceballos and Vice Mayor Chavez on his new role, and I welcome to, and looking forward to collaborating with you all.
I do want to make a clarification on the DOJ efforts. I know DOJ has two sets of situations. They have situations where they send letters to cities on that they want to audit, and there are situations like ours where we have invited them to come in and collaborate with us to see if there's anything where we can be more efficient. So a few meetings ago, unprompted, we made that effort. It was not the first situation, it was the second. All right, go ahead.
I'm going to shorten my comments slightly, but as you all know, we had a little glitch in the water billing cycles on some of the stuff that went out. There is three main issues that we have discovered. The first one is there was a tendency on relying in the past on estimated usage amounts. And now that we're doing actual amounts, we've been noticing that there has been a substantial amount of
Consumption.
bills that have been underestimated, and that's caused an issue that we're trying to work through. We had another little batch of some older meters that were being read wrong, and that created an issue for about 15 to 20 residents only. And we had added the sanitation component to the bills, which wasn't fully explained. One of the other comments that we've had is that now we have also gone about and instead of using codes on the water meter bill, we've actually spelled out exactly what those are. And now people are understanding what they were being billed in the past, but now they really have the transparency on it. We just finished going through 620 accounts. Those are being sent out. The last batch hopefully will be out tomorrow. And what we're seeing so far is a difference from bills from last year to this year for that same batch is right around 10%. So it's not a substantial difference, and in some cases, the 10% is even because of the underestimated amounts. If you were to remove that, the difference is really substantially less than that. Again, like what we just said right now, we have been actively working with DOJ and the state. We have volunteered the information. It is going extremely well. As an update, as of May 9th, 2025, we've collected almost $13 million in revenues, which is about 87% of the total for the year. And we have spent $9.4 million, which is 55% of the projections for the year. This does not include, which is another thing that we've been discovering going through the water and sanitation, that we have about $600,000 in delinquent accounts in water and around $300,000 in sanitation accounts that are delinquent that we are trying to work with our residents to collect. We are keeping an eye very closely on some of the mandates in the states and how that might affect us going forward, whether it's a reduction in sales tax or whether it's some sort of property tax reform. I want to remind the commission that this budget that we're currently on is the second budget that we have been awarded a GFOA award on. We have gotten higher point totals in the first year, and we look forward, I'm not putting the gauntlet on Cody too much, but I'm looking forward to getting even a higher point total for next year. I also want to mention that we are reworking and working very closely with a comprehensive plan to bring it into compliance. I have a couple of exciting events coming up. One's a farmers market for May 31st at Cooper Park. If it's successful, and this is something that the commission wants to continue, we will be proposing to do this once a month. I think that's more than adequate for our city. I also want to remind everybody to save the day for our 4th of July event at our rec center, which we hope will be even more successful than other years. In a few days, it's my second-year anniversary here. I'm not going to bore you with everything that we've accomplished in the last 2 years, but it's a very long list from what we think will be a fantastic, transformational, multi-generational building that's nearing completion, to modernizing our fleets, adding to our tree canopy, increasing police, reducing taxes, increasing services, increasing our events, starting an art and public places board, and the list goes on and on. I do want to also remind the commission that we do have a very robust and secure reserve policy where we have nearly $3 million in a lockbox reserves, plus we have an additional $1.5 million in a long-term CD. So we are in a strong financial position, and we have been able to modernize and actually change everything that we wanted to do so far in this city, and we look forward to continuing to do so, and we're here to serve at the pleasure of our commission. This is all done with residents' quality of life as a forefront of everything that we do. And with that, I'm done with my manager's report. I try to cut it down as much as I possibly could so we can get on with the meeting, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Item 7, report of the city attorney.
Nothing beyond the items in the agenda.
Beautiful. Next item.
Item 8, report of the city engineer.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. Congratulations to our new Commissioner and our new Vice Mayor. I'll be brief, just talk about a few of the projects we have ongoing. Our water project, as you all see, the activity that's been going on pretty significantly over the last few months. We're about done with 12th Street. We should get to 65th Avenue late to early June, late this month to early June. We are pushing to get them to pave as quickly as possible. That's been a little bit of a challenge. It's been a little bit of a mess out there. We understand that, and I know
It's
we're
my street,
pushing.
come on.
We're pushing to get them, at least get the temporary pavement down and get it clean. That's kind of been the challenge with them, is the water crews are really fast, the restoration crews not so much. So that's what we're working on now. We'll be shifting over, I anticipate mid-June to late June, hopefully after school's out, to start work on 62nd Avenue. There is a main going in on 62nd between 12th and 16th. That's going to be probably the most challenging part of the project, just due to traffic, detours that we're going to have to set up. We're talking with the contractor about different options for MOT. We will be engaging with the police department as well. That'll hopefully be completed in about a month to 2 months, in that time frame. It'll be very disruptive, I'm not going to lie, but we're going to do our best to make it as seamless as possible. Next up is talk a little bit about 16th Street. We have a meeting next week with the county to discuss next steps. We have, our studies have been approved. We're moving into the design phase now. So we're having kind of a kickoff meeting with county staff to basically discuss the next steps, where we're heading, and also discuss funding. 62nd Avenue, I've been working with the manager at looking at a concept of widening 62nd. In addition to the crosswalks that we have currently in review with the county. We're looking at concepts, seeing, the feasibility of it.
We're looking to widen 62nd Avenue?
We're
Not-
looking at landscaping,
Yeah.
Oh.
the corridor on 62nd
Widen
Avenue.
in to include, in order to include
To
landscaping.
include landscaping,
Landscaping, okay.
medians.
Yes, and medians
But to
and-
include the medians, we may have to widen some of the curbs,
Yeah, I
not widen the road.
I was
I'm
gonna fix
sorry.
the record,
Yeah.
sir.
I'm sorry, been corrected. But yes, widen the curbs so that we can add medians and landscaping and so forth.
Beautiful.
So we're looking at some concepts, feasibility and pricing of that, what that's gonna look like. Other than that, there's an item on the agenda regarding some traffic calming that we're gonna implement. And we're also in discussion with the manager regarding the next round of drainage projects. So that's what we're working on.
Awesome. I'm sure the commission has some questions for you, as we always do. I'll just start. The project that we've been working on, by the way, the Paseo project is coming along very nicely. The linear park on 11th that 10th dead ends on, what
Yes.
is that, 60th? 60th?
On
61st?
60th Court and 10th Street.
60th Court. Where are we in that process?
I believe we have approval from the county already on the closure.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the next step is to actually implement design.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Anyone else have any questions on projects for the engineer?
It was just the crosswalks for your.
Yeah, it is still in review. I know I had a discussion last month with the traffic engineer regarding the actual location and the different concepts we had to put forth to the county. I'll get a better answer for you and then, for the next meeting of where we're at.
Beautiful. All right, no one has any questions? Let you loose.
Mayor, and
Go
I neglected to ask, I have an add-on item on a mitigation fee that's times of the essence. If we can add it on, I would greatly appreciate it.
Can we, let's take that motion now. Do we have the add-on item in front of us? I just distribute and we'll entertain a motion to add it to the agenda. Okay. All right, can we get somebody want to make a motion to add this to the agenda?
Motion. I'll
Okay.
make a second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any against? Hearing none, the item added to the agenda. Let's move on to the next item, please.
Next item is item 9, committee reports.
For committee reports, is anyone for committee reports? Okay, I'm going to take this opportunity to make an appointment to the Planning and Zoning Board. As we know, we've elevated our board chair, who is doing a phenomenal job at the Planning and Zoning Board. I've been looking for someone to try and fill those shoes there. And after talking to a number of residents, I'd like to appoint Alberto Alonso to the vacancy created by Commissioner Ceballos. Albert is a attorney. He formerly was a senior attorney for the Florida Department of Transportation. He's now in private practice and is committed to serving and dedicated to serving. So I'd like to make that appointment to the board if I can get the board's blessing. See no issues? Okay. The other thing I want to talk about committee reports briefly is something the manager talked about in his report, which was, there's two things. One is the property tax that we're all following. I'm in communication with the governor's office, with a lot of people in the legislature. They are dead serious on getting a proposal on the table for either an elimination or a capping of property taxes for homestead residences. So for some cities, that doesn't affect that much. Our city has a lot of homestead residences and not a lot of commercial, so it will be pretty impactful in terms of revenues for the city. So I am working. I've been selected in a group with the Florida Republican Mayor Association to be coordinating with the governor's office to see how we can work with whatever proposal they're going to have to make sure that our services are funded in some capacity, whether it be through a pool and funds in the state, whatever it is, to make sure that there's no impact to emergency services, no impact to normal services, and that the city is protected. And but they are dead serious about putting this forward. So you can do two things. You can either cry and fight it, like a lot of cities are doing, or we can work with their office to make sure that the best proposal is put forward. And I'm choosing to work with the governor and his team, and I think hopefully we can come up with a solution that benefits residents, obviously, in their pocketbook, and protects the city's services, so that everyone wins. But we're working towards that. The other thing is, I was at the school board today. As you know, we passed a joint use agreement with Sylvania, with the school board, for Sylvania Elementary, where we would be able to access their parking lot and recreational fields on any day there's no school. So the residents can use it as essentially an extension of our perk system. That was passed today at the school board. So now we've passed it on both sides. So we'll start implementing the security measures, the gates, the CCTV cameras that we're committed to in our part of the agreement. And then we're hopeful that now in the summer, we'll be able to allow residents to start using the recreational facilities that I enjoyed when I was a kid before everything kind of got locked down. So that's moving along very well. There's nothing else for committee reports? Go ahead.
Going back to committees and appointments, I have a resident
Okay,
for the branding committee and for
Sure.
the art committee.
go ahead.
It seems like both are her, specialty. She's sort of an artist, and she's also into marketing. And she expressed her wishes to want to serve in both of those committees. I've sent the information to the city clerk, Amy Parazo.
Okay.
And you have her contact information. So
Beautiful.
she's a neighbor. She's from 11th Street, from our neck of the woods. So I think she'll be a great addition to both of those boards.
Beautiful. All right. Madam Clerk, you have that? Anything else? Did you want to do something at this moment, Manager? or-
I was going to play the video.
Oh, okay, well,
Do you want to play it, or?
nah, I think
Okay.
we're fine.
And I think you had a planning and zoning board?
No, I already made the appointment.
Okay.
All right. If there's nothing else for committee reports, next item, please.
Item 10, unfinished business, none this evening. Item 11, under new business agenda items, item 11A, second reading and public hearing. An ordinance of the mayor and city commission of the city of West Miami, Florida relating to military affairs board, creating West Miami Military Affairs Board, providing for powers and duties, composition and appointment or board, qualifications, organization, financial support, staff and commission, providing for codification, severability, and an effective date, sponsored by Vice Mayor Chavez Jr.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. The public hearing for this item is now open. Anyone who wishes to speak on this item, please come up now.
Yes, we have Ivan Chavez.
Name and address to the record.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, Commissioners. My name is Ivan Chavez Sr., 5911 Southwest 9th Terrace, West Miami, Florida. I'm here representing the Miami-Dade County Military Advisory Board, where I serve as its vice chair. I was initially appointed by Commissioner Rebecca Sosa, kept on by Commissioner Kevin Marino Cabrera, and now represent District 6 under Commissioner Natalie Milan Orbis. The state of Florida, there's 1.3 million veterans in the state of Florida. About 77 to 82,000 of them live within Dade County. The creation of the Military Affairs Board for Dade County was an attempt to reach out to as many veterans as possible. The gap in the system, however, is that at the county level, we miss a lot of the local, in-the-weeds locations and veterans that don't have those accesses. So when I proposed this board to you all, I was more than pleased to not just see that you responded in a positive manner, but with enthusiasm. So I appreciate that. And it's just our attempt in West Miami to get resources and benefits down to our veterans that not only earn them, but have already paid for them with their and their families' time and sacrifice. So pending any questions or any comments from you all, that's all I've got.
Thank you. Does anyone else have anything in public hearing on this item? Seeing none.
Motion.
Public hearing, hold on. Public hearing is now closed. Vice Mayor, do you have anything on this item? Do you want to talk? It's your item.
Yeah, just to add to that, West Miami was founded in 1947, and after World War II, the federal government was incentivizing residents or individuals to come and move to this area, to West Miami, and veterans took advantage of that. So over time, this city actually, once upon a time, was known as a city of veterans. Throughout the years, our cities supported veterans, that taken an initiative to, the veterans parking, that the mayor, when he was a commissioner, brought that item forward. We've worked with the Veterans of Foreign Wars. We worked with different organizations to make sure that veterans' voices were heard and made sure that were represented in the city that was once known as the city for veterans. But there was something missing, and when the idea was brought forward, it's an amazing idea because we don't know the exact amount of veterans yet that live in the neighborhood. The U.S. Census states it's about 54, 55. I'd venture to say it's probably a little bit more than that, but those individuals now are going to be represented at the local level, side along with the county level as well. And it's important that now, instead of being known as the town of veterans, we're going to be known as the town for veterans. Anything we can do to support them, make sure that their voices are heard, we're going to do that. So this board is going to be the first step in that direction.
Beautiful. Now you want to make
If
a
no
motion?
one else has anything to say,
Go
I
ahead.
would like to make a motion.
We have a
I'd like to
motion?
make,
Go ahead. Oh, wait.
Well,
Would you like to hold your
it-
motion?
if any city should be related to veterans, is West Miami. Many of you doesn't know this. I'm going to explain you this. You see the flat roofs in the city of West Miami, south of 16th Street, the houses with the flat roof. Those houses were built after the Second War. The Hotel Biltmore now was a hospital. And those houses were built to support personnel of the hospital. This was a city where the personnel was helping the veterans recuperation in the hospital that is now the Biltmore. And the lady who I bought the house, they were veterans, she and he, both. And they told me what is now Coraway, she said was a small landfill, and the Opa-locka was a big airport. And the people injuries, they were bringing the injuries from Opa-locka Airport to this landfill to get in the hospital. And the personnel that support, most of the personnel support the hospital was Miami residents. West Miami was a very, very, I don't know how many, 70% or how many percentage was the veterans, but I know if a city is, was dedicated, was built, and still have the spirit of the veterans, and you can see I know many people who are involved in the armed forces that has been living, they grew in West Miami. I'm very proud about that, and I think I agree with you. I support the idea.
You like to second it?
I make a motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Call the roll.
Yes, Commissioner Suarez, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Commissioner Ceballos?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chavez?
Yes.
Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Thank you. At this moment, can we take item L out of order? It's
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
adjoining this item.
Yes, item L, request for a proclamation declaring the month of May 2025 as Military Appreciation Month, and this item is sponsored by Vice Mayor Chavez.
This is, again, just to reiterate everything that was stated by myself and by my father. We just want to keep shining the light on the veterans here, not only in our community, but in the country entirely. So we're very proud of them and thankful to them. So that's all this is about.
Make a motion?
You know, I might as well say something. I don't know if you all knew this, but South Beach was actually a training ground for the military. They would actually train on the beach. A lot of veterans, soldiers at the time, came from up north and came here to South Florida to train on the beaches. You know, basically training them for the invasion of France. So a lot of them, as they say, the ones that didn't buy the farm, remembered and enjoyed the weather so much that after the war, we had a great influx of veterans move here to South Florida, and a lot of them moved into West Miami. I actually bought my house from an Army captain that was also an attorney. And across the street, there was another veteran that was also military and, you know, and an attorney. So, yeah, if you all didn't know that. that's-
Commissioner Ceballos, if you give a history lesson too, we have to charge entrance fee. So can we get a motion on this item? Go ahead.
Excuse me, also, now, you see young people moving to the city. Most of them, or some of them, are veterans. They don't talk about it, but they're veterans. I tell you, I know a couple of them.
Can I get a motion on
And
this
by
item?
the way, no, I'm just,
Motion on this item, please. Motion, go.
Motion.
We have a motion,
Second.
we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any against? Hearing none, item passes. Before you read the next item, I want to take, I know we have some residents here that I think all have a similar interest. Correct me if I miss any. Items D, E, and J, I think are all related to 6th, 7th Avenue neighborhood. Is there any additional ones I'm missing?
That is all, Mayor.
Okay, I made a mistake towards the beginning of the meeting where I said anyone would get a chance to talk at the public hearing items. Those are on first reading. So at this time, I'm going to make a special exception. If anyone wants to speak on any of those three items related to 6th, 7th Avenue neighborhood, you may do so now. You don't have to, but if anyone wants to speak on the items, now is your opportunities for items D, E, and J.
Mr. Mayor, I have Jose Moran
Okay.
as a
Sorry?
speaker,
Yeah, but they're all.
I believe related to those items.
None of these items are currently public hearings, so we won't discuss them at the table, but we want to hear from residents.
I'm not
Go ahead.
Jose Moran, but I'm his wife, Ana Maria Lozada.
Go for it. What's your address, name and address for the record?
6481 Southwest 22nd Street, Ana Maria Lozada. And I was here because my concern was we came about the parking problem. But when I started seeing everything that you developed ideas of, I had worked very hard. We bought our house in 1990, and 22nd Street was a racetrack. I worked very hard to get that three-way stop in, which helps a little bit and generates a lot of tickets for the city of West Miami. But it has always been a problem with traffic because it cuts from 57th Avenue to 67th Avenue. With the apartments, added a lot of more traffic into that street. But we're dealing with it. We came about the parking, and now I'm finding out that you're thinking of rerouting all this traffic from 20th Street down my avenue and down 22nd. You're dumping all this traffic now from 20th Street onto 22nd. So to me, not only did I'm gonna lose my parking rights, I'm gonna now be using permits, but I'm gonna have an abundance of traffic now on the corner of my street. I'm on 65th and 22nd. I'm affected both ways, the 65th part and the 22nd. So I don't see how that's gonna help or anybody on my street as far as reducing traffic. All you're doing is taking it off of one street, which doesn't cut across from 67th to 57th, and you're putting it on a street that does cut across, which means it's gonna be heavily used. And I just feel that it's not a residential street anymore. It's becoming a Carl Way. And I didn't buy on Carl Way for that reason.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak on items D, E, or J?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Jose Fuentes.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
Name and address for the
commissioners,
record. Name and address.
Officers. Basically, I'm going to repeat what Mrs. Lozada said.
I'm sorry, do you already have his name and address?
Is your name Jose Fuentes?
2140
Yes.
Southwest.
Okay.
Yes.
65th Avenue.
Thank you.
Okay. Basically, I'm just going to repeat it almost what she's already informed you. Matter of fact, rewriting that is like she said, you're going to be adding so much traffic on 22nd that even before those apartments were built, were congested. When we try to come in from 67 on 22nd, we are afraid to have an accident with a car parking, double parking there, Uber, deliveries, everything. Besides people who come in like at 20, 25 miles an hour, 30 turning. It's really dangerous. So I believe that adding that is going to be very, very bad situation for 22nd. And also, it's not going to help 20th Street at all. Because as it is now, 20th Street, that end is almost by the end of 20th Street. Basically, you're leaving out 2 houses the most. No benefit doing that. what I believe, if I can suggest you guys this, is put a speed bumper somewhere around 21st Street. And what we requested was somehow put some permit for parkings only for residential neighbors, only residential, no multifamily. And also, maybe that, oh, by the way, that thing that is doing there, the paseo, is a nice idea. I commending you for that.
Thank you.
It's real nice. In there, maybe you can put, like you said, a circle or something like that, or half a circle, and that's gonna help a lot too. Maybe doing that, I think the officer may not like that because they're gonna have less citation traffics, but nevertheless, it's gonna benefit the city. But other than that, so I believe if you reconsider that plan that was sent to us, we really greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else to speak on items D, E, or J?
Good evening. Edgar Delgado, 6556 Southwest 23rd Street. Been living in West Miami for about 25 years. My kids were born in West Miami. Our family has been here even further than that. And, you know, I used to be a familiar face in front of the commission, but I'm here again, you know, to applaud you for all the work that you're doing for the city. There is a lot of change, and it's welcome change. In the 25 years that I've lived here, you know, we've gone through a lot of changes, a lot of development, and I have always been a supporter for development. I think our city needed it. I think our infrastructure needed to grow, and I think we needed to welcome this change. But with that change also comes the responsibility that we put on you to make sure that you always look out for our interests. We were the original individuals that lived here and came here for purposes of building this neighborhood. And this neighborhood is here because of us, because of the individuals that bought homes, that wanted to make it their home, that wanted to raise their kids and families here. So when all of these developments started coming on board, we all knew that these days were coming. I remember sitting in this commission and sitting in front of you many, many years ago, and we already knew that we were going to have traffic issues. We knew that we were going to have issues with doubling the size of our city just when it came to population. We knew that we were going to have issues on 23rd, 22nd, 20th. We knew you were going to have issues on 57th if you added on more. And we're going to continue having these issues because the city is eventually going to approve other developments. So it is us that ask you to think of us when you're making these decisions, that it is great to have these development comes to our front doors and want to be here, but at the same time, we need quality of life. I'm on 23rd Street and 67th Avenue, right next to the CVS, and many of you have heard all my stories. I don't care to repeat them again, but you know, we have to tend to individuals that really don't care for the neighborhood, that walk their dogs and throw their trash, that have no responsibility when it comes to maintaining what we have built, and we rely on you to make sure that they do. 23rd Street has always been one of those last streets in West Miami. We used to call it the Forgotten Street. It still is. I mean, every day, thankfully my kids are no longer running around the front yard, but every day I used to have to sit in front of you know, by the front yard to make sure that there were no cars coming at 50 miles an hour. Eventually, we were able to convince you all to put a you know, calming device there, which doesn't really work that well. All the traffic that goes to the apartments on 22nd and 21st and 20th are going through these streets, and they will continue to go through these streets. So we're trying to reroute them. I'm not sure that's the solution. I think that we have to find other ways because obviously all these residents here, including myself, are going to always continue to be affected by it because the fact of the matter is there will be more and more and more cars and more families moving in to West Miami. So I ask you, with all due respect, to think of us always and to make sure that you question every single individual that comes to you proposing developments and keeping us in mind, because they will propose, you all know the stories. We were told that they were going to have DNA testing for dogs so that they wouldn't do their necessities in front of our homes. And if you walk through my street right now, you could probably come out with a couple of 5-gallon trash bags full of what you already know needs to be picked up. So think of us when you do these changes. Think of us when you approve these projects. And make sure you're tough, because everyone is going to want to be in West Miami. And we rely on you for our quality of life. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
That's fine. Yeah, just.
Name and
name
address
and
for
address.
the record.
So, Vanessa Herrero, I live on 20th Street, right in the middle of all of this, as most of us do. And the three things that we're talking about, D, E, and J, right? Those are
Correct.
the three. So, I live right on 20th Street. I'm the middle house on that street, right next to the first building. You guys proposed the calming. You know what? It might be better than what we have now. I mean, 20th Street, they use it as a racetrack. So if it's putting a calming and testing it out, I say go for it, because it's better than what I have now. I've had a cat killed because somebody was racing through their car down the street, and it affected me. Is it ideal? Is it the best thing? No, but it's better than nothing. And I think if we test it out, at least put it as a test to see how it works, give it 90 days, give it however long you guys think would warrant it, and see if it makes a difference. It will impact us. My husband is not thrilled with this at all, because many people here, and I agree, we have to go 2 blocks in one direction. I get it. But I'm not going to get hit by a car shooting out of one of those apartments. I'll drive the 2 blocks if I'm not going to get hit by one of these people in the apartment shooting out. So I'm fine with it. The parking passes, yes, because we still have that issue. We have cars parking from the garage, from the apartments, all over our swells, destroying our grasses, destroying our, because you have a thing in here about beautification and, plants. Okay, well, they're killing that. They're killing our grass. And if, it just looks shady. It looks horrible that we have all these tire tracks on everything. So I'm all for those passes. We can go more into detail. I think it's a great idea. And where's Jay? The fire alarms, please help. Please help. Fire alarms, specifically those apartment buildings. They go off at all hours of the night, all hours of the day. The mockingbirds in the area, native wildlife, is now mimicking the sounds of those fire alarms. Those birds need to hear that noise a lot to mimic it. I can sit in my backyard, look up at the apartment, and see mockingbirds making those noises, and that's not cool. So any help you guys can give with that, I would greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have for D, E, and J?
Mr. Mayor, I have Damaso Hernandez. No, are those?
Go ahead.
Okay, related to these items?
Name and address.
Commissioner, Mayor, Damaso Hernandez, 6461 Southwest 23rd.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Okay, thank you, sir.
Long time I don't see you here.
Yeah. You see me here because something concerns me.
All right, you're very welcome.
All right. Okay, the reason that I'm here is because this little project about the 20th Street, 22 and 21st, okay, I live right less than 200 yards from this little project, okay? So that is going to affect me too, all right? Because 20th Street is being the street, my enter and my exit street since being living here in West Miami, okay, for almost 32 years. I use that street every day, okay? It could be a nice project, I can say that. I'm not a DOT expert, okay? But I'm pretty sure it's gonna affect us and all the neighbors around about the traffic, okay? So the street is not only West Miami Street, it's also Miami-Dade County Street, okay? My question to you guys, I don't know if you can answer right now, or you can answer that later, okay? I don't have a problem with that. A traffic study was conducted with this. That's one of my questions. And also, Miami-Dade County Transportation Department was was contacted about this. They already know that. Did you receive any letter
I'm
about
sorry,
this?
which department?
Miami-Dade County Transportation Department.
Transportation.
Okay? So did you contact them or receive any letter about this? So that's my second question. Okay? Right now, traffic is affecting in that area. I guess doing this is gonna be worse so far, okay? So please think about it, okay? I'm not saying, okay, that it's not a solution, but I guess it's gonna create more problem, okay?
Thank you.
Right? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak on items D, E, and J? D, E, and J. Okay, let's do this. Let's take items, the first readings, item D and E. These will, if approved tonight, will come back for a second reading with a public hearing. So let's take items D and E right now, and then we'll talk about item J.
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead. If this is a discussion on the speed stuff,
It's dealing with traffic.
yeah, let's just take item D and J, and D and E, and then we'll start with J. Take item D, please.
Item D, this is a first reading, an ordinance of the State Commission of the City of West Miami, Florida relating to parking on swales, amending ordinance 2025-01 to additionally prohibit parking of vehicles on swales on Southwest 20th Street, 20th Terrace, 22nd Street, 23rd Street between Southwest 64th Avenue and 66th Avenue, and on 64th Court between Southwest 20th Street and 20th Terrace, and on 65th Avenue between 20th Street and 22nd Street, other than by residents and guests of such residents displaying parking identification permits in their vehicles, providing for enforcement, providing for conflict, severability, and an effective date.
This is a-
Sponsored by administration.
This is the first reading. We have a
Yes.
motion?
Motion.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Call the roll.
Yes, Commissioner Ceballos, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chavez?
Yes.
Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Item E, please.
Item E, first reading, an ordinance of the City of West Miami relating to fire alarms, providing that fines shall be levied against fire alarm permit holders when there are 3 or more false alarms from any permitted fire alarm in any 6-month period, providing for conflict, severability, and codification, and providing for an effective date. Sponsored by
The
administration.
first reading. We have a motion.
Motion.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Call the roll.
Yes, Commissioner Blanes? How
Yes.
do you vote? Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Commissioner Ceballos?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chavez?
Yes.
Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Okay, read item J, and then we'll discuss here at the table.
Item J, a resolution of the mayor and city commission of the city of West Miami, Florida, approving the installation of a traffic calming device at the intersection of Southwest 66th Avenue and 22nd Street, providing for implementation, providing for an effective date. Sponsored by administration.
Okay, so just to give some color and background to all these items, D, E, and J, and I took them all together. This came about out of a town hall that I conducted with residents of that neighborhood. Many of you were there. We talked about a whole bunch of issues, some of which we're trying to solve quickly with these items, some of which will take a little longer to solve or mitigate. So I do want to call upon the manager to, because let me be very clear, everything that we're trying to do with these items, none of them benefit anybody outside that community. So if your community isn't for them, we have no reason to pass them as they are, right? So everything that we're doing here is resident-driven. Literally, things that we talked about, many of you with me directly. So I want to make sure that whatever we're implementing, especially this is not cheap to do, is accepted and wanted by the residents, and that you guys think it's going to work, right? So can we give some background on item J, and then I'll give it to the board for a discussion, but let's give some background on how we came about with that. What was the process with residents on that? If we think it's a robust enough process, or we need to go back to the drawing table and make sure that residents are, are more involved in that process when it comes to the traffic calming Go ahead.
Mayor, I'll take it backwards. I think we should probably table this and have further meetings with the residents. We thought that we had a consensus. It's obvious tonight that we do not. What we were proposing is a traffic circle on 22nd and 66, one of the many traffic circles that we already have the interlocal with Miami-Dade County that allows us to do so, and a chicane on Southwest 20th Street. Obviously, I think the chicane on Southwest 20th Street is the one that's causing the most issues, and I believe that this is something that we should table and have further meetings with the residents, because at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is resolve a solution, provide a solution for an ongoing problem that they have. We're not trying to create any other issues for the residents.
Yeah, we'll send it back to the table now. I just want to answer two questions. I believe Mr. Fuentes talked about the Paseo area with traffic calming. That I had personal kind of negotiations with a lot of residents on that street. What we came about to there is that will be a different texture of that road. We do find that the different texture does tend to, the colors and textures tend to slow drivers down visually and physically. So that's what will be going on there next to the project that I'm sure you're all seeing is in the process there. I believe Mr. Hernandez talked about the Department of Transportation. Again, we're tabling this item. I think we're going to table this item, but I will say there is an interlocal agreement that we have with the county for all these sort of traffic calming devices, and in that interlocal agreement, we have the ability to put them, and that's agreed upon beforehand. But back to the board on this item. Go ahead.
I agree with the mayor. If this is something that we're doing to try and alleviate an issue in that area and the people that live in that area aren't happy, we have to revisit this. I heard somebody mention that this could potentially be better than nothing. When it comes to safety, quality of life, we don't go for better than nothing. We want you guys to be happy. Some of us have kids up here. Some of us have pets. Somebody lost an animal. It could have easily been somebody's child as well. So we are working together, trying to alleviate those issues, make sure to give you guys the safety and the quality of life that you've wanted since you moved here 25 years ago. Just rest assured that we are trying to get to that outcome and working together with you guys to make sure that that happens, okay?
Commissioner, I know you wanted to speak. Go ahead.
This is an idea I've had for a long time, for many, many years. I was fought along the way every time that I had that I brought the idea up. And basically, the idea is to close off the street. Close off the streets to the southern let's see, the southern and western part of the city. Typically, you have 40 cars, 40 to 50 cars that will detour from Coral Way and will go north on 67th and will cut through and go east on these streets. So the idea is to close off 2 or 3 of these streets. And then in the other streets further north, put signs that will prohibit cars making a right turn to proceed east, like they've done in Coral Gables on 57th Avenue, just south of Bird Road. There's a whole bunch of signs there that say that you cannot turn left and go east from a certain time to a certain time. So if we, on the streets that are to the northern part of the city on 67th, if we put these signs up and we have our police enforce this, people, you get a ticket and you know what, you'll think about it, doing it twice. Not just that, but they'll have to travel further north to cut through. So the idea is to maintain these 40, 50 cars on Coral Way, because that's what it is. I just happen to be early morning, like I actually sat in front of a house from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock on 20th Street and 62nd Avenue. And from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, I counted 46 cars. And they're all coming pretty fast. Another time, I counted 52. So if we can keep this 46 or 52 cars on Coral Way, I think that we can skin the cat.
Yeah, so yeah, go ahead, sorry. Finish your thoughts.
I mean, you know, it's just, I'm speaking out loud, but you know what? That will resolve the issue. Because you know what? 40, 50 cars that will be kept in that thoroughfare are not gonna make much difference. The traffic moves, you know, it moves slow, but it moves, and 40 or 50 cars are not gonna hinder, you know, the commute. And it's gonna save, you know, them from having this issue. Now, we as a city, sitting here, you know, I think that's what we should shoot for. You know, shoot for the stars. You know, if we miss, we land on the moon.
So,
Anyway,
yeah.
I don't know if it was the right time to say this, but
No, listen,
it's-
I think, well, we're in the process of talking about it. I think we're getting the vibe that we're going to defer this item or table it. I will say, we are looking at, for example, street closure. We're trying to, on 8th Street, next to the apartment buildings there, for that street that shouldn't exist between the two buildings. But when a past county commissioner forced the two buildings open and leaving that street, 9th Street vulnerable. Street closures, after Coral Gables closed the streets of 57th Avenue became very difficult. The county put a lot of rules in place. That's not to say that rules in government are permanent, right? There was a lot of different county commissioners too that had very strong feelings on these things. So it's definitely worth exploring along with the residents of assuming that, you know, that the plans that we want to put in would be beneficial or accepted by the neighborhood, right? It's worth exploring. But I definitely know that process is not a short one. There's things that we can do immediately that are interlocal agreements and things like that. So if there is a potential to do something immediately, I want to explore that if it works. But I'm definitely not opposed to continuing to work on that and seeing if there's something to be done there, personally.
If there's a traffic study, I guarantee you is 45 to 50 cars.
We do have a traffic study for that area.
Typically, the
Yeah.
detour from Coral Way, and then they cut through our, you know, our southern part of the city.
Yeah.
And, you know, they end up on 20th Street and 62nd Avenue, and then they proceed all the way to 57th Avenue, and then they actually cut through the Gables.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, I don't know. I think that now more than ever, I think that the climate might be good to do this, to push for this.
We can definitely explore it, Mr. Manager.
Yes, Mayor, again, since this is from administration, I would request a deferral to a date certain in July. That'll give us a chance to meet with all the residents to try to come up with a cohesive plan that they all can join in. The
Well,
one thing that I would like to take out of this meeting for the residents is that you're no longer the forgotten corner, at least we're paying attention. This is a commission, this is a mayor that is paying attention and trying to resolve the issue.
Is there anything
We're here
in
to
the-
work with you also.
Yeah, is there anything in the resolution that we shouldn't just kill this item and just bring it back?
If I may,
We
Mr.
could-
Mayor, I
we-
just have a
we-
question.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
It's a question really for the city manager. I did hear a couple of the residents concerned with the fallout of 20th Street and the effect that's going to have on 20th Street, but this resolution is just for the traffic calming on 66 and 22nd. So I guess my question is, I didn't hear any particular concerns with this resolution.
That is correct. What they were talking more was a chicane on 20th Street.
But that's not before us
But
today.
that's, it was all presented to them at the same time, and that's why they're here. This was all done in a cohesive pattern for both the traffic circle and the chicane.
But
I would- I
yeah,
would-
the commissioner makes a good point. Is this item? I guess it's probably a question for the residents, but explain what this item actually covers.
This item
and then
is
let's-
a traffic circle on 22nd and 66th Avenue. That's one of the things that the residents had brought to us was the speeders. And this would definitely help with the speeding. It would provide us 2 anchor points of traffic circles along with the pavers that we're installing where the Paseos goes across the
Right.
street, which would substantially slow down traffic.
You know what? You make a good point, Commissioner. But I will say, all these, especially in a small area, all of these different traffic calming devices work in conjunction with each other. So if we are gonna change something on one part, it might totally change how one traffic calmer works. So I think we should, yeah, okay, let's table the item I think let's table the item and let's look at it holistically.
I agree with you, Mayor.
Yeah.
My only comment would be if we're gonna bring them all together.
Sure.
So that the residents have an idea of all of the changes that are gonna be posed in that area.
I agree. Okay, can we get a motion to table this item?
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Hearing none. Item is tabled. What is the dates for the second reading for items D and E?
June 4th.
So June 4th is when the items for the parking and the fire alarms will be coming for second reading, for final passage. All right,
Mayor, let me make a, Damaso, what is Damaso? He left?
you left.
Left, well, the guy who was talking, he left, okay. Well, he knows that we try and always do the same, because we are a family. You live in the west, we live in the east, you live in the north, you live in the, it's a small city. So we try to do the best for everybody, not for just for one. So we will try to do our best. Now, there is a problem with 67 in Coroway. It's a problem. It's a Wawa gasoline, the station. It's an Exxon gasoline station. It's South Miami making another hospital in Bell Road or Sunset. It's a congestion area, and this we're suffering. Everybody's suffering about that, the traffic that we have now. But we will do the best, for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's get back to the order agenda.
Okay, next item will be item B. This is a second reading and a public hearing. An ordinance of the City of West Miami, Florida, amending the Code of Ordinances by modification of Chapter 12, Planning and Development, adopted zoning ordinance 282, Section 4.3C, Use District, Section 4.32-4, Landscape Open Space, to provide an optional pay in lieu to a citywide tree trust fund where landscape requirements cannot be met, and to establish a City of West Miami Tree Trust Fund to disperse collected funds to tree planting in the city rights-of-way, providing for payment schedules, deposit accounts, expiration, enforcement, and other applicable regulations, and providing for corrections, severability, conflicts, implementation, and an effective date.
This is a public hearing. The public hearing for this item is now open. Anyone wish to speak on this item? Now is the moment. Do I have any speaker cards?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Back to the board. Mr. Manager, do you want to give some context?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, and I had a little sidebar with Commissioner Ceballos, and he's correct on one issue. This is the first reading, so this is an attempt.
This is the public hearing. This is the second reading of this item.
Second reading.
So if there's an issue with the item, tell
There
us
is an
now.
issue,
and we
I would like
will-
to, I would like to bring it back
Let's
to
push
next
it.
meeting.
Okay.
There is an issue with the fee schedule, it's not correct, and we need to fix it. So
Okay.
if I may ask the board to please bring this back date certain to the June 4th meeting, I would greatly appreciate it.
Can we get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second. Call the roll on this.
Yes, Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Commissioner Ceballos?
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chavez?
Yes.
Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
5-0. Item continue.
This item is continued to July. Next item, please.
To the June meeting.
Sorry, June. I'm on the wrong month. June.
Okay, June 4th. Next item will be item C. This is a first reading, an ordinance of Mayor and City Commission of the City of West Miami, Florida, amending ordinance 2024-04 relating to Article 4 purchases and contracts, Section 2-74 surplus property, providing for enhanced direction to dispose of non-operational or obsolete assets owned by the City of West Miami, providing for codification, conflict severability, and an effective date.
This is a first reading.
Yes.
We have a motion.
Motion?
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Call the roll.
Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
You vote. Commissioner Ceballos?
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chavez?
Yes.
Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
5-0. Item passes. Second reading and public hearing at June 4th at 6 p.m.
Thank you. Item F, please.
Next item would be item F. An ordinance of the City of West Miami relating to the operation of golf carts on city streets, clarifying that operation of golf cars on Southwest 8th Street Southwest 16th Street, Southwest 67th Avenue, and Southwest 57th Avenue, which are designated prohibited streets pursuant to Florida law, is prohibited with some exceptions, clarifying that golf carts which are registered and licensed by the state of Florida and operated in compliance with Florida state law on designated street need not comply with the registration, use, and equipment requirements of the City of West Miami Code, providing for conflicts, severability, and codification, and providing for an effective date.
This is a first reading. We're cleaning up your ordinance, Commissioner.
This is for the slow-moving,
Is it-
it doesn't, well, it's only for the none.
We're just cleaning up the ordinance that we passed last
No, I know,
meeting.
but it's for the,
Slow streets.
Once you get your tag
Yeah.
and you have your car your golf cart registered with the state of Florida, then you're considered a slow-moving vehicle. Will the slow-moving vehicle be able to be on these roads?
We will talk about it in second reading.
If
It's
it goes
first
40
reading.
miles an hour, then?
It's first reading. We'll talk about it in second reading.
First reading.
Second, I'll
We
second.
have a motion. We have a second. Call the roll.
Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Commissioner Ceballos?
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chavez?
Yes.
Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
5-0, item passes. Second reading and public hearing, June 4th at 6 p.m.
Thank you. Next item.
Item G, first reading, an ordinance of the City of West Miami relating to interest charges on overdue fines, providing the fines levied under Chapter 2, Article 6-7. Municipal Code Enforcement shall bear an interest rate late charge when overdue after the amount of the fine is final and no longer subject to further proceedings, appeal, or any other alteration, providing for conflicts, severability, and codification, and providing for an effective date, sponsored by administration.
Motion.
We have a motion.
Motion.
We have a second. Call the roll.
Commissioner Ceballos, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chavez?
Yes.
Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
5-0, item passes. Second reading, June 4th at 6 p.m. I'm sorry. Next item, item H, a resolution of the mayor and the city commission of the city of West Miami reducing the water consumption portion of the utility bill for its residents by 4%.
So I want to give a little color and context to this item. As the city manager mentioned in his manager's report, and our finance director mentioned, we changed over to digital metering of the water. In doing so, we found a couple discrepancies. We had increased the water bill earlier this year or late last year to account because the water fund in the city is an enterprise account, which means that it has to maintain itself by our own code. We actually were violating our code for many years by doing transfers from the general fund, which is actually not allowed. In doing so, we've changed all these water projects because the water projects were leaking up to 1 million gallons a year, which we thought was the consumption issue. What we found is there's a few consumption issues. One was there was a miscalculation of how much commercial or apartment buildings were being metered, and we believe that was an undercount. And then the other thing that was happening was, and maybe a lot of residents in this room have that issue, is their meters were actually unreadable, so they were being estimated at some point, which meant that the consumption that they were actually having was higher in reality than what had been billed for I don't know how many cycles. So when all those things came into effect, we're now realizing that consumption, the actual water consumption at an aggregate is actually much higher, which means that we can actually start reducing that bill down. We're going to do it conservatively because we have to make sure that our numbers are correct, but we're going to start with 4%, and then we will continue to monitor it and potentially lower and lower as we collect more data and our math checks out that the actual consumption based off digital meters is actually higher, which allows us to charge less for the water. Just for context for people to know, we do not generate our own water. Our water comes from the county. We are bulk buyers. We buy the water from the county, and then we sell it to the end customer. What was happening is we were losing a ton of money because of leaks to the system, because we have to buy the water whether or not it gets to the consumer or not. We're realizing now that those leaks have been fixed through all these water projects that we've been able to do without special assessment, thanks to appropriations given by the state and the federal government over the last couple of years. But that wasn't the only issue. We also had this metering issue that we were unaware of that had been going on for who knows how many years. So now we feel like we're at a point where we actually can know all the facts and assess correctly. So we're going to start the process of lowering the consumption part of the utility bill. So we're starting with 4%, and hopefully, as we get more data, we can continue to do so. But that's the flavor and context to it. Anyone have any comments? Go ahead.
You know, I wish that we could send something out to the residents in English and Spanish, you know, explaining this, because this has always been a contention, our water bill, the billing, you know. In the past, through the years, you know, the overarching complaint was my water bill. My water bill is $200. Now all of a sudden it's $600. Why is that? And this would be something that it would repeat itself over and over and over again. I don't know, you know, basically there were times, there were exceptions where the resident actually had a leak, you know, an actual leak, but there were many, many times that they did not have a leak. And I know this for a fact. So, you know, maybe at that one particular time, the meter was red. And they actually confirmed that all these cubic feet of water were used. And that was the correct billing. So, you know, people were not, you know, people were being underbilled. They were actually not being billed for the amount of water that they were using. And I think that we need to explain this, you know, in a very simple, you know, in layman's terms. That way the resident can understand, in Spanish and in English.
Yep, I agree with you.
We can accomplish that, Mr. Mayor.
Let's work on the other communications. Any on this item? Get a motion?
Motion.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Call the roll, please.
Yes, Commissioner Ceballos,
Yes.
Commissioner Blanes.
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chavez.
Yes.
Mayor Diaz-Padrón.
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Thank you. Next item.
Item I, resolution of the mayor and city commission of the city of West Miami, Florida relating to an interagency agreement with the Sheriff's Department of Miami-Dade County, providing approval of an interagency agreement with the Sheriff's Department of Miami-Dade County for the access to criminal justice records and other matters, replacing the previous similar agreement with the Police Department of Miami-Dade County, providing for an effective date.
Interagency agreement.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Hearing none, item passes. Next item.
Item J has been covered. Item K, a resolution of the mayor and city commission of the city of West Miami, Florida relating to compliance with federal civil rights laws, affirming the city's compliance with federal civil rights, non-discrimination, and immigration laws as a condition of receiving federal financial assistance, reaffirming merit-based employment and contracting practices, requiring cooperation with federal law enforcement, providing for conflict severability, and an effective date.
Motion.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any against?
Motion passes.
Hearing none, motion passes. Next item.
Item M, resolution of the mayor and city commission of the city of West Miami authorizing the city manager to accept a mitigation offer in the amount of blank from 1515 Real Estate Holdings Incorporated on code enforcement liens for code violations at the property located at 1515 Southwest 67th Avenue, West Miami, Florida, providing that if payment in full is not paid in blank days, then the amount owed shall revert to the original lien amount, providing for an effective date.
Okay. Give some context, and then we'll bring the applicant up for.
You need the item? Okay.
Yes, Mayor, this
total-
is,
The
this
total
is
amount?
a commercial property that's on 15th and 67th Avenue, that they bought the property with the violation already in place, if I recollect. It was basically nothing to do with the structures. It all had to do with lighting, which they have They have already they already meet the criteria that we require for parking in those areas. The lien when they bought this property was $21,000. We are recommending an amount of $5,000 payable within 60 days, and if not, it'll revert back.
So-
And that they have their attorney here.
Okay. Before we bring up the attorney, what was the exact violation? What was it for?
It was a lack of lighting in the parking lot.
Lack of lighting, okay. The attorney for the applicant, yes, go ahead.
Thank you,
Drill,
Mr.
name and
Mayor.
address.
Jerry Proctor, attorney, 7600 Red Road, South Miami, representing the property owners. Javier Su and Robert Venus are here with me. Mr. Mayor and members of the council, we would like your assistance in mitigating this fine. As Mr. Silva indicated, my clients bought this property on a short sale, and they were unaware for over a decade that there were letters and continuing penalties, liens, and so forth. This property, this commercial building on the property, was the subject of a fire in about 2011. And as a result, the building was inoperable for several years. In that period, my clients bought the property. They proceeded to remedy the fire damage, to obtain the permits from the city, and to reopen with lighting the building. And several years ago at this point, it's unfortunate that they, as the new owner at the time, did not know about these violations. And they proceeded to work with the city to obtain the permits, and more recently to obtain 40-year recertification on the building. And it was only recently that they learned of the situation. The building and the property are in compliance. The property is used by an adult daycare center, and they've been there for several years. We really ask for your help. We know that the city has incurred some effort here. I would ask for an abatement and a mitigation amount in the range of $2,000 because of this circumstance, because of this lack of knowledge, and because of the fact that they have complied and will continue to comply. And I appreciate your consideration.
Counselor, what is the adult daycare that's there called? You can ask your clients.
The adult daycare.
Yeah, what is it called?
What's it called?
What was, I'm sorry, say it again? Okay, so I was on this commission, and I know Commissioner Blanes and Commissioner Suarez were also on this commission when that special, I believe, special use permit came to us.
Yeah.
How is it possible that when that's, I mean, I know you weren't the manager, but how is it possible that that special use came without taking care of the lien?
And this wasn't noted.
Yeah. Look, has there been a violation since? Because I know that property was.
No, Mayor, the reason why this came up is, as the attorney just said, we are actively going through our files and asking for all the properties that give
Okay.
us their 30-year or 40-year certification as required, which was also something that wasn't quite done properly in the past, and that's how this one popped up, and that's how we came across it.
Yeah, I find it absurd that we gave a special use permit. We did a whole. I remember the whole presentation. I remember everything.
I do too.
And that this wasn't taken care of at that point. And there's been no violation since. That violation is not very egregious either. I'm okay with the recommendation from the attorney, but I'll give it to the board for questions or. Go ahead.
Mr. Bannister, what's your,
It's the will of the commission, that's
His
fine.
recommendation is 5,000. The attorney is requesting how much?
2,000 and we're-
2,000.
2,000.
how about we split the baby?
I'm sorry?
2,500?
Well,
Commissioner Suarez, go ahead.
you proposing 2,000?
The attorney's proposing 2,000.
Well, I tell you, that fine was written when it was after the fire?
That's correct. For a period of years, it was impossible to have lighting. And then in about, I want to say 2017 forward, the building was rehabilitated, opened, and had lighting and still has lighting.
I don't think we should be punitive on this. This is, I mean,
Let me tell you, we are in this city. We try to be in a family way of living. We don't try to be like a real estate business. We don't try to make money from the properties. We don't try to that. We try to get in order the things. So everything is in order, Mr. Manager. The property is already.
Yes, sir, as a compliance.
Well, I agree with Mr. Blaine, $2,500. Because it wasn't when the fine was written, was when the fire happened. So,
Vice Mayor, Commissioner, you have any add on this or questions?
No, I agree that we're not up here to make money off of you all. We're here to make sure that that you guys comply, and that seems that to be the case. As long as the city is recouping the money that we spent and the efforts, is that the case with 2,500?
Yes, sir, that will adequately cover what we have spent on that, and I do want to stipulate, whatever the number is, if it's okay with yourself and your client, that we would have it paid within 30 days?
30 days?
30 days?
Sounds okay to me.
2,500 in 30 days.
Is
If
that
it's the
workable?
will of the board.
Is that workable?
Will your client need more time?
No,
I don't think so.
So 2,500, 30 days. Remember that the way the resolution is written, if it's not paid within 30 days, then it reverts back to the original amount. So we're okay with 30 days? Okay. So,
Ask the owner, have to be paid in 30 days. Explain him very well, because sometimes the owners doesn't want to pay with time. All right, be sure, please. We try to help you, but we want to get rid of this. We don't want, to give the people with problems.
Commissioner, make your motion on the amount and the amount of days. Make your motion. 2,500, 30 days?
Motion for the fine to be 2,500, paid within 30 days.
Okay.
Second,
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll.
Commissioner Ceballos? How do you
Yes.
vote? Commissioner Suarez?
yes.
Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chavez? Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Thank you. We have the add-on item, I believe.
Thank you and good evening.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Yes, item is a resolution of the mayor and city commission of the city of West Miami authorizing the city manager to accept a mitigation offer in the amount of blank from Blue Nest Homes 15 LLC on code enforcement liens for code violations at the property located at 6051 Southwest 15th Street, West Miami, Florida, providing that demolition of the existing structures are completed and payments of fines are received in full within 120 days of this resolution. If payment in full is not received in the amount owed, then the amount owed shall revert to the original lien amount, providing for an effective date.
Mr. Manager, provide the same level of context and the amount of the original lien.
The amount, good evening, Mayor, again. The amount of the original lien is over $2 million. I think it's $2,600,000. However, over $1.5 million of that is more than 20 years old, and it wasn't really protected by the city, so that's dubious if we could ever really collect that. The amount that is collectible is about $1 million. This house is under foreclosure. The foreclosure will be at the end of this month. Speaking to the potential buyers, we reached an agreement that they would knock the house down within 120 days and pay us $200,000 of the really reliable lien amount of $960,000.
And
This house has had serious issues.
Yeah.
It's been a headache and a co-compliance case for us for a very, very long time. We've had a very hard time enforcing basic items on this house. The neighborhood is, in my feeling, going to be very happy to see this gone. And my recommendation is that we accept it and move forward so that we can bring some peace and quiet to that street.
Thank you. Is there an attorney representing the applicant?
They're not here. They sent a letter agreeing to the terms. They sent an email.
Okay, go ahead, Commissioner. Yeah,
This property is.
I'm very aware of this property.
And the police can attest It's safe, structurally unsafe, building makeshift, actually CVS structures without permits, tin roofs, drugs, crime. I don't know if the chief can come up and he will tell you the litany of all the issues that
Let's
we've
keep it to
had
the
with
code
this
of
property.
violations.
Neighbors across the street would not let their kids out to play out in their front yard. I mean, this place was a nightmare.
Chief,
A
Chief,
total nightmare.
if we could keep all discussion, Commissioner, if we could keep all discussion to the code of violations. I understand the property, many of us understand the property, but for the purposes of this legal proceeding, let's keep everything to the code of violations that are on the property. So we have a litany of code of violations, keep it to that, if we could, because I think it would just.
And Mayor, the house has got very serious code violations.
Yes.
We were actually, if it wasn't that it was in foreclosure, we would actually be looking for a court order because they would not allow us into the house. And although we have seen some pictures of the inside of the house, and we believe it that it meets the criteria to be an unsafe structure. So this house is in as serious a violation as you see in a single-family home.
Yeah, look, I'm fully in favor of somebody coming in and building new there. I think the neighborhood would be ecstatic. What, in the letter that was sent to the city, what was the amount that they agreed to in their negotiations and recommendation with your office?
They began at substantially lower amount. Obviously, they started at about $100,000. They asked, and we actually countered at a much higher number based on the original amount of the liens. And we eventually agreed to the number of $200,000. They came up from 100 to about 150. We came down, we went back a few rounds, and then we settled on the 200,000. We were looking for more only because of all the issues that we've had on that property. However, the reason why we're bringing it to this board today under these emergency conditions is because that foreclosure is set for the end of this month. If this house isn't bought and it goes through foreclosure, that house could be potentially that way for a substantial period of time. And in the best interest of the safety of the city and especially that street, we thought it was prudent to bring it to you guys now because this is a very good opportunity for us to be able to get that eyesore out of here.
Mr. Manager, the buyer, this is an LLC, right? Can you
We've been dealing with their lawyers, but this is a developer called
Blue Nest?
So it's a developer?
Blue Nest
It's
Homes.
a developer.
It's a developer that's buying it, yes, sir.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Commissioner, I don't think there is a resident who will, your hope is that they sell it to a person who will live there, right? But there's no individual who will live in the house that can deal with all those legal complications and very less so, have this type of money to cash out, outlay just to purchase the property and deal with mitigation amounts. So I don't think any non-developer would be able to go through this process.
Well, I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead.
I propose 90 days. They need to tear it down in, 60 days.
I think that's gonna be a little hard.
60 days. They said 120? Why not? All you need is
I
a
mean, there's
bulldozer and a bucket.
120 days.
There's not gonna be anyone living there, so the biggest part of the problem goes away.
Okay, 90 days then. 90 days and $225,000.
If I may.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
I frankly think that we may need to go the opposite way in terms of timing, just because, first of all, this is only binding on this LLC.
Correct.
And if the foreclosure, for whatever reason, is delayed or there is any issues with their funding or whatever it may be, and then they have to pull a demo permit, I would think that we should at least give the city manager the authority to extend the 120 days or the 90 days.
Or as soon as possible.
That's fine. I have no issue with modifying it to 90 days, but just give the city manager the authority to extend it for
Okay.
reasonable cause, just because I'm concerned that 120 days of property is in foreclosure, that there may be squatters. We don't know what's going on there. Not suggesting there is, chief. But things happen.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I'm very familiar with this foreclosure case. As you know, when there's a lien on a property in the city, when there's a foreclosure action, they have to notify all the creditors. This came to my desk, all the the notices on this stuff come to me. This came to my desk in 2023. So I've been following this foreclosure for quite some time. It's a very multi-party, a lot of different mitigations. We're not the only people they owe money to in terms of governments, and it's very complicated. I think this is a good situation to potentially move fast in that. So, and I agree with you. We don't know the situation inside that property in terms of the timing. I think at the end of the day, if we can guarantee that in this year that property will be torn down, that is a massive win for the community. I don't think that we should be, like you say, penny wise and pound foolish on time, right? So I agree with you. If you want to go to 9 days and allow the manager and to extend if necessary, if that's more comfortable, I'm fine with that.
Or as soon as possible, once they get all their ducks lined up in a row.
Sure.
And they're able, and they have and they get the permits as soon as possible.
I would say 120 days is a pretty, I mean, for demolition, I mean, it's a pretty, it's actually a pretty short time if you think about it.
Okay.
So
So
it is an expedited process.
So leave it at 120 days then,
Okay,
and $225,000.
okay. I mean, we don't have an attorney here, so we don't know what they accept and don't accept, so it's gotta be a judgment call on the part of this commission.
I think they'll accept that's an oversized lot, and, they can build a big, beautiful, nice home there, and someone will come along and pay top dollar for it.
I think based on the fact that they're not here and we want to move along with this, the foreclosure's at the end of the month, and we're going to get rid of a safety issue, an eyesore, for 25 grand, I feel that we leave it at 200 grand. They're not here right now to go back and forth, and we don't know when we're going to meet again.
Why are they not here?
Look, I don't know this developer. I do know the name. They are doing a number of projects in the county, much bigger projects than single-family homes. In the past Planning and Advisory Board meeting of the county that I was watching, they had a number of projects. So they just might have a lot of projects going on, and this is not a priority, right? Which is fine for me, fine for us right now, right? Because as long as they go through the motions and build something nice there, and somebody buys it, a single-family, person buys it and makes it their homestead, I think everyone wins, right? But I don't know why they're not here. Maybe they said in the letter. They say in the letter why they weren't appearing. Is it just a volume situation?
There was a volume situation. It was a lawyer that was reaching out to us and basically saying that they had agreed to the terms of 120 days and $200,000. So that's really what we brought here, because we'd like to be able to see the eyesore removed.
I think it's a good deal.
I would request, going by Commissioner Blanes and Ceballos, maybe 120 days with an option to extend 60 days if there's dire circumstances. That would give them some leeway.
And that's manager authority. We're gonna make
At
it
the
manager
manager's
authority.
Yep.
And then as far as the amount, I mean, we can take it up to a vote. I don't disagree with you getting that last part. I'm just, this situation for that street is so dire. Like Commissioner says, Vice Mayor says, I don't know if you want to toy with it. It's a good amount of money that covers the cost of the city. It doesn't cover the cost of all of the issues that neighborhood has had to endure. But that being said, there's something about being able to turn the page for that neighborhood. And we do cover a significant amount of costs, that I think that we shouldn't mess with it too much.
You're absolutely right. I agree, because I've talked to those residents, and they will be very happy. So you know what? Yeah.
Well, and it goes to a bigger issue that this is one of the homes, but there's a few that you could probably think of off the top of your head that have liens of over $1 million, and the alternative is that we leave it at $1 million and no one ever buys it, and then it stays an eyesore, stays a safety issue. So
No, I agree, you guys talked me into it, that's it.
So-
It's just that in the past, we've had so many issues that, I'm thinking in terms of punishing, but you
Yeah,
know
but
what? It's
we can't be
just
punitive,
not-
but this is a significant
not
mitigation.
Huh?
Still 200,000.
No, I know.
This is a significant mitigation amount.
I
that-
agree.
That will go back into the community in a very positive way, so.
I agree.
Right, and let's remember that it's not the person buying its fault that the liens got that high. It was the person that
I
lost
agree,
the property.
I agree.
So,
Absolutely.
all right, someone make a motion on this. Most of the stuff is just the amount that we need to add into it.
I'll make a motion for the $200,000 mitigation in 120 days or 90 days.
With the authority of the
the authority
manager
of the
to
manager
extend
to extend if
60
need be.
days if needed? Okay. Do you have a second?
Second.
You have a second? Call the roll?
Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Commissioner Ceballos?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chavez?
Yes.
Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
5-0, item passes with amendments.
Thank you. On the consent, does anyone have any wish to pull on consent? Seeing none, can I get a motion?
Motion.
You have a motion?
Second?
We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Hearing none, consent items pass. Good of the order. Anyone for good of the order? Good of the order, go
I
ahead.
want to welcome our new commissioner, I think we have a great addition,
Thank you.
another voice of reason.
So far, so good, let's see.
Thank you.
I know you have, we have events coming up, let's just quickly go, I know you talked about it before, but let's just go down the calendar.
Yeah,
real
we
quick.
have the inaugural Farmers Market, May 31st. And then after that, we have our 4th of July event at the Rec Center.
Beautiful. And that will be on what day? 4th of July. All of the items have been covered in the agenda, so this meeting is adjourned.